Good day, you're welcome to Wopion channel. If you're yet to subscribe to our channel, kindly click the subscribe button and the notification button. Today we are drafting this Ankara spaghetti maxi circle dress with cold shoulder without any joining. So now the first thing is to fold your fabric into two, self-edge to self-edge, like I've done so. And then the next thing is to fold your fabric again, making it into four, to ensure that it is enough for the client's length. For this tutorial, my client's length is 62 plus 1 inch seam allowance, making 62 inches. So right now, the fabric I folded is not enough for my client's length, so I'm trying to shift it so that it is enough for the client's length. So now it is enough for the client's length. The next thing is I'm trying to ensure that there's no fold anywhere. We now have 4 fabrics under it. We have to be sure that the 4 fabrics are neatly laid so that when you finish cutting, one part is not shorter than the other. Now that I've confirmed that the fabric is enough, folded fabric is enough for the client's length and there's no fold anywhere under, the next thing is for us to start our cutting, drafting before cutting. So the first thing is to measure the client's back. For this tutorial, my client's back is 17 divided into 2, that is 8.5. I have just marked 8.5 right now. So I'm going to mark the same 8.5 down. If you are not sure of what we are doing, it means you don't know how to draft basic bodies. You can watch our previous videos for drafting basic bodies. So now that I've done it, I'm joining it. I'm joining that 8 inches to the bust level. So the next thing is to divide this back into 2. So 8.5 divided into 2. I'm using my tape measurement to be sure that I have the right I have the accurate measurement. So the next thing is to mark that 4.2 something. Now after that, I am measuring 6 inches. The client does not want the spaghetti to be too low, so she wants her upper bust to be 6 inches, and that is what I have just marked right now, 6 inches. So I mark it also on that center that we have measured before. So the next thing is for me to use the curved part of my master pattern to connect to the measurement to the bust level, and then I do the same thing at the center front. Like I said, the client does not want our bust to be too low, so I'm removing ½ inch from it and I'm connecting it also using the curved part of my master ruler. So that part is the front, and now this part, now the 6 inches that we remove now, is going to be the spaghetti strap. So the next thing is to measure the bust measurement. The bust of my client in this particular tutorial is 40 inches. 40 divided by 4, that's 10 inches, plus 2 inches allowance, that's 12 inches. So I just marked 12 inches right now. Now, every other aspect of this dress, being a circle dress, does not need shaping. The only part that needs shaping is the bust. So the next thing is to go down to the length. So what I've just done is I've just divided my hip the client's hip into four. For the client's hip is 44 divided by 4, that's 11 inches. So I'm going to measure 11 inches twice. Or you could just take it to the self edge straight, and then you curve your hand a little bit up. So now I'm marking my 1 inch seam allowance, and I'm going to curve it a little bit. As you can see, I'm curving my hand a little bit up. You could use hip curve to do this part if you have it, but if you don't have it, you can also do what I just did. So the next thing is to connect the bust, remember the 12 inches, to the part where I've just curved with a straight ruler. You just curve it all the way up. You curve it all the way up, connect it, and be sure that you have your length. So right now I'm measuring again to be sure that I still have my 62 inches after all the curves. Note that I measure from the upper part where the fold is, and then I'm confirming it also at the sides to be sure that I still have my client's correct measurement. So the next thing for me to do is to measure the client's waist. So from the upper part, I measure the client's waist, which is 16. Then I measured 8 inches back. And I traced that line back. And then I measure 8 inches again for the entrance of the pocket. So what I'm doing right now is I'm cutting the pocket with the dress. So you connect it like so. I'm drawing the chalk so that you guys can see it clearly. So now that I've done the pocket, the next thing is for us to start our cutting. So when you cut and you get towards the pocket side, make sure you leave half-inch seam allowance. If you don't leave it, your pocket entrance might be short. So you add half-inch seam allowance on all the angles, on all the sides of the pocket, like I've just done so. You do it all through, and then you connect to the back to the shape, and then you cut it all the way down. Now we have cut our body with the pockets. So you have 1, 2, that's the front, and then another 1, 2, which is the back. So we have both front and back measurements. The next thing is for us to cut this strap and the facing. So from the pieces of the fabric, I'm going to cut the spaghetti strap and the facing. So you can measure whatever you want, and then just make sure that the width is 1.5 inches, and then you fold it in like so. Fold it in like this, and then you take it to the sewing machine, and then you sew all the way down. Sew the 2 sides. The next thing is to cut the facing for the neckline. The neckline facing is going all the way to the armhole. It's going all the way to the armhole, and I've just added 4 inches all down after the armhole, 4 inches after the armhole. So that's the armhole. So this is the part I said is 4 inches. So now I've cut the facing for both front and the back. So the next thing I'm cutting now is I folded 10 inches fabric twice, that making 20 inches. That is what we are going to use for the cold shoulder part of the dress. So now I'm cutting the middle again. So now we are going to have 20. That's 20 inches divided to 2. So we're going to have 10 inches. And then I cut it from self edge to self edge. So I'm showing you this part now. This is the part where we are going to put elastic, and then we're going to runch it. This is the lower part. You turn it for both sleeves. So once you do that, you sew the other side, and then you put elastic inside, and then it's going to give you this runch look. And then you do the same thing for both sides. So now that we have sewed the spaghetti strap, you attach it to the part of the body that has this hilly look or triangular look. You pin it to that part. You do it for the second side too. You pin it in place so that it doesn't shift when you are sewing it. After that, you place the facing on it. So you place the facing on it like so, and then make sure they align really well, and then you pin it also down, and then you sew ½ inch all through. Sew ½ inch all through. Now that we have done so, you can see the next thing is to face the front of the front to the right side of the front to the right side of the back, like I've done so. And then you measure. Remember, we removed 6 inches from the bodice when we're cutting it. We removed 6 inches from the upper bust for my client. So you remove the 6 inches for the front, and then you measure the 6 inches also for the back. This time around, you now add ½ inches to it, making 6 inches plus 6 inches, 12 inches plus the same allowance, 12.5. And then you place it on the hilly triangular-ish parts of the body like we did for the front also. You do it like so, and then you pin it. Then you do it for the second side. Repeat the same process. 6 inches plus 6 inches. The first 6 inches for the front, the second is 6 inches for the back, and then you had ½ inch for sewing allowance. And then you pin it. So when you are done with that, the next thing is to place the facing on it like we did for the front, and then you pin it to sew it. Make sure they align well, and then you sew ½ inch just like we have done for the front all the way through. And voila, you are done. The next thing for you now to do is to join the sides. So you join the sides using the client measurement, bust measurement, and then you connect it to the remaining part like so. Remember, we left ½ inches for the pocket, so you sew the ½ inches like so, and then you sew it all the way down. So we've done that, and then we've turned the fabric into the right side, right? So, and then we have also done the cold shoulder. Remember that one that we say we're going to elasticate? We've done it. So the next thing is for you to align the seam part of the sleeve to the same part of the armhole of the spaghetti dress. align it, and then you sew 3 inches right and 3 inches left. You do the same for both sides, and we are ready. See how beautiful this looks. Thank you for watching. Bye.